And here's the thing. Why would you fight against a vaccine passport? Are vaccine passports, well, the only way back to normality? Should we just remove the word passport, by the way, from this? Because I think that, let's just call it a piece of paper, right? Let's call it what it is. A little card, maybe, that simply says, you've had a vaccine. Simple as that. It's so that you're unlikely to spread something or get it again. Just a bit of paper or a card saying you've had the vaccine. That's it. The NHS app could be converted as well into a digital COVID-19 certificate, allowing people to use their phones to prove they've been vaccinated, or, this is the crucial bit, and I don't know why this didn't come up more often, or to prove that they tested negative. Number 10 is considering allowing businesses to demand to see the app to ensure that staff or customers are at much lower risk of being infectious. You've got Michael Gove's going to lead a review on this into the deep and complex issues around vaccine passports, which the government is considering again after previously branding them discriminatory. It's understood that the government wants to give people the option of showing either a vaccination status or a test result to ensure the scheme does not penalise those who cannot receive the vaccine for health reasons. What is wrong with that? It's a happy compromise, right? 0344 499 1000. If you are not that enamoured by, and I get this, by the way, my thoughts on it have been thrown out on the radio on a fairly regular basis. I'm not that comfortable with being told you have to have the vaccine. That said, I'm also not comfortable with, folk who make stuff up about vaccines, which almost makes me want to have one. And there are many that are uncomfortable for those reasons. The flat earthers say this is all wrong. It's sinister. It's interesting talking to these people. They're not asked. Let me get this out of the way to start with, and I will throw the question out. Are vaccine passports the only way back to normality? 0344 499 1000. What's interesting for those who kind of make stuff up about the vaccine, either the compound or more prevalently the reasons behind the vaccine. I mean, these people, just think about this for a second. They're not asking you to believe that there's been a bit of basic government incompetence or that there's actually a better way of doing things. I could buy into that if they were simply saying, I don't know, the Matt Hancock, did they break the laws on whether they put contracts out to tendering or not put contracts out? Is that a criminal thing? Is it a moral thing? The government got that wrong. Okay, we can all acknowledge, we can say the government got that wrong. It's not a conspiracy, it's a mess up. We can acknowledge that. You don't have to advance your mind in any peculiar sense to understand that that's a great example of incompetence, of something going wrong. Donald Trump, let's give him the benefit of the doubt on this, didn't get the same amount of favourable press headlines as Joe Biden. Not a conspiracy, but very easy to understand that was undoubtedly the case. They're not asking you to believe cock up in that respect. They're asking you to believe that the world is run by the Illuminati, possibly even another species. Either way, a shady cartel of billionaires who want to control the population. They want to reduce the size of the population so they can then control the population. They want to do this by poisoning our bodies with a vaccine that will stop or curtail procreation, that will rewire our minds. We'll become more subservient, a compliant mass of sheep people, a biddable proletariat, our heads lower, our shoulders hunched, our gait irredeemably altered as we stoop towards the ministry to do our day's work, our masters barking orders via screens and smartphones. But we will be happy. Our daily dose of soma will ensure that we are happy. That's the world I'm being asked to believe in, right? So literally, when it comes to having an issue with the vaccine, the passport, therefore the vaccine, I either say I'd rather not put something in my body in the same way I don't take a paracetamol, or I'm being asked to believe something, a plot so mad Steven Spielberg would refuse to make a movie about it. Not being asked to believe a bit of lowbrow government incompetence, but a theory which would change the face of planet Earth and irredeemably alter stop the human journey in its tracks. That's how big it is. So when Bob in Arbroath calls me up and says, no, mate, this is what's going on here. I think to myself, really? That big? It's a massive conspiracy theory that's being peddled out here. So I don't want to go down that route because it would be daft. And the flat earthers who come around every couple of decades with different theories. It's the end is nigh man, isn't it, with the sandwich board. And once upon a time, it really was the flat earthers. You look back at everybody from eras where people were burned at the stake for being a witch because somebody spotted them doing something that looked a bit witchy. One of the things that could have you burned as a witch it is absolutely true, was if you were spotted looking at a ferret. I'm not kidding you. They were called familiars. So if you saw somebody doing a certain thing, talking to themselves, that would be one. Seemingly praying to the gods in the wrong way, that would be one. And talking to a ferret. I'm not kidding you. This is how mad it was, and people believe this. Have you seen old Pam down the way there? Talking to ferrets again. Burn the witch. That's how it was. That's what people did back then. So we still have a bit of that going on. So let's just park that group. Okay, the flat earthers, this ain't for you kids. This is an adult conversation. And the question about vaccine passports, I'm thinking to myself, maybe the government are spot on here. The word passport just kind of gives it a bigger sense of something. There are already places you can't go to unless you've taken the right tablets. Previously, smallpox and various other issues required a vaccination before you could do very much. Not forever. It's just one of those things. And when you think about it, by the way, it's not that odd. Here's something that's quite virulent, and it's probably best you don't sit in an aeroplane with lots of other people who haven't had it and you've got it. So here's a little passport to say, well, we know the jury's out in terms of how long this vaccination will last, but we do already know that viral load is reduced. We know that there's less chance of having a severe case of COVID and therefore less chance of it spreading in the conventional way. So in that respect, it kind of makes sense. It's not weird. It's not that hard to understand. But is the happy compromise here this business of ultimately the passport, right? Call it a passport, call it a bit of paper, call it whatever you like. Are vaccine passports now the only way back to normality? And if you didn't have a passport, what about just having something on your app that said, I've had a negative test 5 minutes ago? A fella tried to sell me a test on a train yesterday. Seriously, he was flogging masks and tests. He said, 5 minutes, mate, this will do you wonderful. 5 minutes, you get the results. And that's going to be the way forward. So what would be the difference? If I jump on an aeroplane, I'm about to go Barcelona bound, and I haven't got my passport, but I have got my app, and I say, look at that. There it is. Look, it's written on the app. I've just had a negative test. I'm good to go. Job done. Thank you very much.